Hello and welcome to the Sports Wall. I'm Donnie. I'm joined by Andrew, and we're gonna kind of talk Wisconsin sports tonight. But first, Andy, let's start with a little bit of what are your thoughts on the Super Bowl?
Yeah, overall, it was, to be honest, a pretty ugly game. I think, obviously, exciting finish, but I don't think either team would say that they played, their best game of the year by any means.
Mm-mm.
But it was an exciting fourth quarter, an exciting overtime. We talked about last week. I think my point stood when it came down to it. I wasn't choosing Brock Purdy over Patrick Mahomes. And I think in the fourth quarter and in overtime, that was probably the biggest difference was the quarterback. And Purdy didn't play bad. He's just not capable of the things that Patrick Mahomes did at especially late, especially in that overtime. A couple of those plays he made were really impressive.
Yeah.
But credit to the Chiefs. They did what they had to do. I don't think they were the best team in football from start to finish, but they got hot and were playing the best football as the playoffs went on.
Yeah, after kind of like in that, like right around the time they played the Packers, they kind of were on their downfall of.
Oh yeah, they were playing
not playing great.
They were not playing well.
Yeah, but you can never doubt Patrick Mahomes. If you're going to give him plus money, I'm going to take that.
Yeah, I got him at plus 200 at half, plus 250 at halftime in that game. Hit a bunch of parlays because of overtime.
Yeah, you're going to give me Patrick Mahomes plus money. I'm never going to be disappointed taking it, even if it loses. Yeah. I'm going to take it every time, twice on Sunday. And last week Sunday, I did take it twice on Sunday.
Yep, same here. I just kept actually adding to my position as the game went on, to be honest. So I don't know how many total bets I had, but it was it was multiple for sure.
A lot of people are saying that's an instant classic, but the finish was an instant classic, but the lead up to the ending was just horrendous.
It was 3 average quarters and then I guess 2 good quarters.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely that first quarter. It was 0-0 after the first quarter, I think, right?
10-3 at halftime.
10-3 at half. Yeah. So it wasn't a lot of turnovers, a lot of mistakes, but nerves probably played into it, at least at the beginning. So
fumbles. The biggest play of the game, in my opinion, is probably the fumble punt return. If that play doesn't happen, I don't think the Chiefs win the game.
That and then Greenlaw getting hurt before.
That certainly didn't help.
No. So, but anyway, it's in the past. Now we move forward to the draft and free agency and the NFL and stuff like that. So we'll have a preview on that in a couple shows or soon. So let's jump
time later. We can give a basic, first thoughts there, but
let's jump over to the Milwaukee Bucks because we're getting towards the playoff push here.
Mm-hmm.
All-Star weekend coming up. What are your thoughts on the Bucks being a legit contender, Andy?
They're certainly going through some struggles right now. I'm watching them as we speak. It feels like they just don't have an identity. They, in previous years, were able to rely on their defense to, keep them in games and make things very difficult on their opponents. And that just isn't the case this year. I think, I understand why they made the trade for Damian Lillard, but so far, at least, in hindsight's 2020, but they're not a better team with him right now than they were with Drew Holiday. Holiday just defensively added so much to them. He had his issues offensively. He wasn't a bad by any shape of the imagination, but he wasn't Lillard, right? He wasn't going to be that type of scorer. But what you could count on was him making life really painful on the opposing most likely point guard. And offenses start with the point guard. They run through a point guard. So if you can really challenge them and make the point guard work extra hard just to even get the offense started, it's going to be difficult. And I don't have any of the numbers in front of me right now, but do I think they're a contender? Yeah. I mean, who can we say for sure can beat the Bucks in a 7-game series?
Boston.
I mean, they could, but like
Yeah.
you can't look at that and say they will. Like they might. They probably do, at least the way they're playing right now. But I think the big thing that needs to happen is Lillard. He's a bit of a liability defensively, but he makes up with his offense. And simply put, he hasn't shot the ball all that well with Milwaukee. I think he's somewhere around 35, 34, 33% from downtown and like low 40s overall. Those numbers need to be up probably 48 to 50% from the field. Maybe that's stretching it a little bit, but you want him pushing 40% from downtown too.
Yeah. Just
because that's going to improve the efficiency of your offense significantly. But if that happens, if he starts shooting the ball well, if he gets comfortable, the Bucks could be a lot more dangerous, and they'll look different than in years past because they're going to be an offense first team rather than a defense first team with a good offense.
The biggest thing is like I know we just transitioned to Doc Rivers and stuff like that, so that's probably contributing to this struggle we're having right now. Is because he's more focused on getting
ready. Adjustments, period, no doubt.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's let me. Oh, that's actually so he's shooting 42.5% from the field and 34.4% from downtown. Those numbers. So he's a career 44% from the field, 37% from downtown. So he needs to bump those numbers up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize for interrupting.
What was his last year? Well, like where does this rank amongst his shooting percentage is this average or is this kind of like below average for him?
Well, it's below average. I just told you what I just said was his career numbers, but so last year he shot 46% from the field, 37% from downtown. The year before that, he only played 29 games, but he was 40% from the field, 32% from downtown. Give him a little bit of a break there because that is an injury-riddled season. But going back from the field, 45, 46.3, 44.9, 43.9, 44.4. Got to go all the way back to 2015 before he was lower from the field other than that shortened season. And from downtown, this is outside of that injury-shortened season, this is his worst shooting year of his career. One rough year in 2014-15 where he shot 34.3 actually, so he's slightly above that. But looking at his career numbers other than that, 37, 39, 37, 37, 36, 37, 40, 39, 37. So you would think he should be in the 37 to 38% range.
Yeah. FanDuel has him as the 4th best odds to win the NBA championship.
Denver.
Celtics at plus 260. That's the favorite.
Boston, Denver, and
the Clippers.
The Clippers, okay.
The next East team is the Knicks at 1,800, and they're 6th.
As long as the Bucks don't run into the Pacers.
Yeah, they got our number. But I don't know. Something that always seemed to plague the team is somebody that can shoot the threes. I always feel like they never could defend the three. That's why we lost to Miami both times.
That's sort of the way Budenholzer's offense or defense ran, right? It was really pack it in the paint and then force them to beat you from the outside, which it's a lot easier to score points in the paint, but it's hard. Even in the NBA, it's hard to live by the three over the course of a season. You can definitely do it over the course of a playoff series, though.
Yeah. Now, what are your thoughts on Doc Rivers being the coach? Is he the answer? He's never really been able to close
I
out
mean,
teams in the playoffs. I mean, he does have one championship. I'll give him that.
I'm
But
not.
the thing on him is when it comes to game sevens or like a closeout game, he's never been able to really finish.
They were a mess with Adrian Griffin.
Yes, on the defensive side, yes.
Well, they were kind of just a mess overall. They scored a lot of points, but they scored a lot of points because Antetokounmpo and Lillard are just better than most players. So I do think it's an upgrade. Is it good enough to win a title? In year one, that's tough. I mean, you're asking a lot out of these guys to make a mid-season adjustment to a new coach. I'm sure the style is not going to be significantly different, but it'll be different enough. And to make those in-season adjustments without, that preseason training camp type of work, can be a big challenge. And so can it happen? Sure. Will it? I mean, I don't think it will.
Yeah. Well, and that kind of goes back to the first question: are the Bucks serious contenders?
I think they are. I think they are. I just don't think they're going to ultimately get it done.
Yeah.
I can see plenty of scenarios where they do.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. We're feels like kind of like a weird. They had the trade deadline. Is the trade deadline always before the All-Star game?
I don't remember. I don't follow the NBA closely enough, to be honest.
Yeah, neither do I. So, all right, let's move on to the other team in Milwaukee, the Brewers. Pitchers and catchers reported yesterday. I believe they had their first workout today. I saw the Miz was throwing some balls. What is his name? Mizorowski or something like that. The number one prospect pitching prospect for the Brewers. I saw him throwing some heat out there today. But what are your expectations? I know the Corbin Burns trade really kind of put a damper on a lot of the expectations. But as far as like you look at us, our offense should be improved from last year. We are improved at first base.
It's hard not to improve on that offense.
Exactly.
But where did we really improve? You hope that
you hope all your rookies take the step.
You hope Contreras can have another year like he did, but in a much wider role, right? So you hope that we're gonna hope that he gets I shouldn't say a wider role. I mean, he was their number one last year. You hope that he can continue what he did because he seems like he could be a nice foundation piece for at least a few years.
Yep. You hope Royce Hoskins can go. He's coming off an injury, so that's
he'll hit some home runs, no doubt about that. I mean, the last thing we need is another guy who's going to hit 213 though. And I could absolutely see that.
Oh, no doubt.
Happening. Adames, who knows if he'll be on the opening day roster. It sounds like they're still shopping him.
Yep.
Yelich, we're probably never going to see MVP Christian Yelich again. It seemed like that injury that second year that he was just crazy was it really impacted him for whatever reason. But I mean, he was better last year. He wasn't back to MVP level, but he was better than he was, I think, the 2 years preceding. I have his numbers up right now. I mean, he hit 280.
Last year was more of like an average Yelich Miami year.
He hit 280 with 20 home runs. Like that's 278 with 19 home runs. Like that's a decent year. You actually 34 home runs. I'm looking that's doubles. No, 19 home runs.
Those were the seasons he was having in Miami leading up to what he did in Milwaukee.
I don't even know if he had that much power in Miami.
I bet you he was right around 20 at least.
Maybe. But yeah, I mean, if he hits 280 again, I would say, I'll take it. I'd like to see him push 30 home runs. Don't know if he
Well,
still
and
has that power, but it'd be nice.
he'll more than likely probably be in the leadoff spot, I would think.
Maybe.
Because
I mean, what
that's
about
where he was most of last year, I believe.
What about the shortstop?
Willie
I mean,
Damas?
he doesn't have a bat, right? The one they brought in from Baltimore. He doesn't have much of a bat, so he must not. From
No, but
they
they were saying that he might take over second base.
Yep.
For Terang.
Yep.
And I don't know what that means for Terang, but but you got Tyler Black at third base, who was raking in the minors. I mean, he's going to be young, so this will be his first time up in the majors if he gets a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got, hopefully you get Garrett Mitchell back. He did good, but he was hurt.
Yep.
And then you got who was the other guy that we called up halfway through last year that was a spark plug for us?
Frelick?
Yep, Sal Frelick. I like him. Hopefully he can continue.
We'll see. Go a little bit. He hit 250 over the course of the year.
And then you got Churio. Who knows what if he's gonna make the opening? I don't know what the plan is there. You would think he would be on the opening day roster, but it'll all come down.
They don't have to worry about service time anymore.
No, not necessarily.
Well, they don't have to because of the contract.
Yeah. So
you gotta think
he'll be penciled in at center field, and then Frelick and probably left, and then Mitchell or is Weimer maybe a possibility out and right? Weimer didn't really perform the greatest last year. We definitely have an abundance of offense where we can afford to trade some guys, but we'll see what happens and stuff like that as far as that goes. The biggest thing is I think our bullpen is still going to be good.
I think our bullpen is going to be good. I just don't think our starting pitchers are going to be putting them in positions to have leads as much.
Yeah.
We're just not going to be as
yeah, that's going to be the biggest question mark, obviously. So I think let's see here. What does let's see here. What do they got projected for our starting rotation? They got Peralta, Miley, Eunice, Ray, and Hall is projected.
That does not strike fear.
No.
I mean, Peralta's a good pitcher, but if Miley's number 2 now, that's
and where
potentially rough.
Was Eunice on the team last year? 2 others. I don't remember him, but yeah, I don't know. In a wide open division, it's hard to say that the Brewers can't win the division. I mean, I don't think it's likely, but the division's wide open. It could be. I think the NL Central.
I think 4 teams could win it. I think 4 teams could win it.
Yeah, for sure. I think the NL Central could be either the most exciting division or one of the best divisions in baseball, or at least most competitive, or one of the worst.
So I think it'll be I think it'll probably be right up there as most competitive and potentially also be one of the worst.
Kind of like last year.
Last year, I mean, at least the Brewers got to 92 wins, right? This year, we could be looking at a division winner with 83, 84, 85 wins.
Yeah.
That's absolutely on the table just because, it doesn't seem like anybody's head and shoulders above. I think the Cubs have a lot of potential to do that. I think the Reds have potential to jump up ahead. I think the Cardinals have the potential to just sort of maintain a consistent, level that'll carry them. And if they're consistent and other teams are going, up and down like this all year long, I could see the Cardinals winning the division, and then the Brewers. I honestly don't know what to expect with them. I think they're going to be probably below 500.
77.5 is their win total.
I would take the under, to be honest.
Under?
I'd put them around 75.
Okay. So then let's go into this one. Who are you taking to win the division? Cards at plus 140, Cubs at plus 240, Reds at plus 410, Crew at plus 550, and the Pirates at 1,600.
Well, when you asked me that yesterday, I said I thought it would be the Cardinals,
And then I read off the ages of their starting pitching.
which is fine. Like
They
it's
don't have
not,
a guy. They don't have a guy younger than 32.
but it's not. It's not football, right? It's different. Pitchers can. The arm goes last, but
Yeah,
I said the Cardinals. I'll stick with them. I think they will. I think they'll win the division.
I just worry about how healthy they'll be able to stay on a starting.
That's the wild card there for sure.
Yeah. I'd take the Reds at plus 410. I think that price is just too good to pass on the Reds.
So you didn't ask me if you just asked me who I thought would win.
Yeah, I can say the price, and I think the Reds are going to win.
I don't think I wouldn't bet on the Cardinals at 140. But I do think.
Well, take this from a betting aspect. Who are you putting money on to win the division?
What were the Cubs?
240.
And the Brewers?
550.
Yeah, it would be Reds or Cubs from where I feel like the most value is. Probably the Cubs, but
the hardest part is I don't feel like anybody really got substantially better in the division. You know, I think the Cubs signed a Japanese pitcher.
Well, the Cubs signed Craig Counsell.
They also lost Cody Bellinger. They haven't signed him back yet.
True, but I mean, what's Counsell going to do there? Look at what he did in Milwaukee, man.
Yeah, you're right. He's going to have the pitchers go 4 to 5 innings of no hit ball and then pull them.
Maybe, but he just finds ways to win. He found ways to win in Milwaukee with teams that were a lot less talented than.
Yeah, the Cubs. Yeah, the Cubs never seem to have like the bullpen the Brewers did. So we'll see. It may take them a year. I don't know what they've done for their bullpen and stuff like that.
So they definitely didn't. But we also had, if I recall, Wade Miley on the mound in Game 7 of the NLCS against Clayton Kershaw. That's not an ideal scenario.
Was it?
I don't remember if it was Kershaw, but one of the Dodgers' top guys.
Well, yeah, the game 7 I think was the young guy at the time. I think he missed last season. I can't remember.
Walker, what's his name?
Yep, Walker Buehler. Yeah, I think it was Walker Buehler. But I also remember game 3 when Wade Miley threw one pitch and then they pulled him for Woodruff.
Yeah, something like that.
I think he faced one batter, and then they brought in Woodruff because they wanted all the righties in the lineup.
Yep, I remember that.
So
indeed,
looks like we got a question from the chat. What's going on with the Badgers? Said Todd Rhea.
Oh, jeez. Hey, Todd. I'm assuming you're talking Badger basketball.
I would assume so too.
I'll let you give your thoughts there.
This is a standard Badger team where they go 5 to 10 minutes without hitting a shot.
That's absolutely right. It's a team that, I mean, they have. I thought they were a little bit more drought resistant this year because they have a lot of guys who are capable of putting points on the board. But yeah, the last couple of weeks they have just reached a point where, man, that basketball is the size of a tuna can, or the rim is the size of a tuna can.
Yeah,
and it is not going in for them. They're still defending for the most part pretty well. I mean, last night they got what's his name from Ohio State fired.
Oh yeah.
But again, they had a big lead and then got cold and couldn't put them away, and it ended up much closer than it really should have been. I think they'll be okay, but yeah, when it comes down to tournament time, you know, it's all going to come down to whether or not they make shots, as it always does with the Badgers,
and get into their shorts defensively right off the tip. Because look at the Rutgers game. The Rutgers was like one of the worst teams at shooting 3-pointers, and they were on fire from behind the arc.
Anybody can shoot well if you're unguarded.
It always seems to happen against the Badgers.
Well, that's probably not a coincidence.
He wants to know if we can start tanking to get rid of guard.
You know, I don't dislike guard. I think he has done a pretty good job, to be honest, but
I wish he could recruit a little bit better.
That's the thing I was going to say. He comes from the same school of recruiting that Bo Ryan did, and you know, Bo Ryan did it year in and year out. Just recruit, you know, good players who fit your system rather than, you know, chasing all these 5 stars.
Yeah,
and it works if you're able to develop them. And that's where guard has struggled a little bit. He's developed guys, but he's developed guys like Tyler Wall into good players and not guys like, I think, Devin Harris, Orlando Tucker, Frank Kaminsky, and Decker. You think of Mike Wilkinson. You think about those guys, where they came in and where they got to. It never reached. Guys are not really reaching that point. The closest he got would have been Koenig and Hayes, and Koenig and Hayes were, 2 years under Bo Ryan.
Yeah, we're not really a develop and go on to the NBA type program.
No, absolutely not. We're a develop in our system.
Yeah.
And our system is tough to beat when it's done right by good players. And it's just the ceiling for some of these guys doesn't seem to be being met.
Is the last guy that left early Devin Harris?
Yeah, I think so.
Because, and when did he leave? Did he leave after his
Johnny Davis. Johnny Davis left 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Yeah, he left as a sophomore.
Yep.
So, otherwise, then it might have been Devin Harris.
So I'll give guard credit on that, because he did turn. If you watch Johnny Davis from his freshman year to the sophomore year, he definitely developed him significantly just in that 1 year.
Yep. Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah, the Badgers are who we thought they were.
I mean, yeah, right. Pretty much.
They got to do a little bit better on. At least AJ Store's got to do a little bit better on shot selection. In that 4-game stretch that we had, his shot selection wasn't the greatest,
and that's directly correlated to going on scoring droughts.
Yeah, we settled too much for 3-pointers.
Sure did.
So, all right, you got anything else you want to add?
I mean, I still got a little bit of time if you wanted to go back to what you started with and give any thoughts on Packer free agency or draft type stuff.
Sure. What do you got? I'll go with this. On my car ride home, I was kind of surprised. Like the guys on the radio were talking like Devondre Campbell is going to be gone. Like they were saying like we could use an upgrade at linebacker, and they said Isaiah McDuffie and Quay Walker. That's all they said. They didn't say anything about Devondre Campbell. So I was like, is he gone already, or like I don't remember hearing anything like he was a possibility of being gone. Like,
there's definitely a possibility he's gone.
We don't save that much money by cutting him.
No, they only save like $3 million, I think. Yeah. So it's not crazy. What it comes down to is if you think you can spend that $3 million in a better, and give more value for that $3 million than you will get for the $17 million that you're already paying Campbell. And $3 million. What is that really going to get you? That's going to get you a plug and play linebacker. Probably not going to be somebody who's better than him. So ultimately, if you look at it that way, you're paying $14 million in dead cap to Campbell in that situation. You're paying the next man up $3 million. You're still paying $17 million for that position. So I would say it's 50-50 if he's gone. The main reason has nothing to do with performance or contract. It's just late in the year he seemed to be disgruntled, right? And he seemed to pull it together a little bit. I think he didn't play in the Dallas game, did he? He might have played in the Dallas
playoff game.
Yeah,
I believe he
did. Played against San Francisco. I don't remember if he played against Dallas.
Yeah,
but
I think he only missed like one game.
He got himself healthy. He missed more than that. He got himself. It seems like he was playing through injuries. He didn't go about it the right way with the way he just came out and was, on Twitter like that. Mm-hmm. If he's gone, I would imagine that would be part of the reason.
Yeah. It was more of a shock that they were just like writing him off like he was for surely going to be gone. They didn't even mention him or anything like that.
I don't think he's for surely gone in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
I would like to see them grab another big interior linebacker in the draft, but I don't think there's any guarantee that he's gone.
Yeah. So that was my thought on it. What else you got?
I mean, Schneidman reported today. It looked like, the headline said he was gone, Bakhtiari, but it
was just kind of going based off the press conference.
Yes, the story didn't specifically say that, but
and if anybody reported it, it was us that reported it first that we think he's going to be gone.
We certainly didn't report it. We just gave opinions. And I mean, I didn't say he was definitely gone. I said I think there's no way that he's back at the same cap number. They will either cut him or have to sign him to some type of extension to make that cap number more manageable, because there's just no way you can trade. I think it's very unlikely that there's another team willing to give up draft capital to take on Bakhtiari's $21 million contract next year and assume that he's going to be healthy enough to contribute throughout the course of the year, especially late in the year. I just don't. I don't see that being possible.
Yeah.
That said, I'll give a lot of credit to Rasheed Walker, the way he played down the stretch, but I would still like to see an upgrade at left tackle. I would like to see an upgrade on the interior offensive line. I would like to see upgrades in the secondary. I would like to see upgrades in the interior defensive line, especially against the run. I mean, they're in pretty good shape, obviously, at receiver. They have their quarterback. They have their running back for at least a short term, but I would like to see them grab another running back in the draft as well.
Oh, for sure.
Or two. So I mean, there's plenty of places, plenty of areas for improvement with the Packers, but yeah, I don't see them being super active in free agency. I don't think they're going to have the capital to do so. I mean, they have 11 draft picks, I think, so that is a pretty good haul. You have the capital to move around if you need to. If your guy's not there, trade back and
5 in the top 100 too, right?
What's that?
5 picks in the top 100, right?
5 in the top 100, yep. I think it's 5 in the top 90, 94 or something, 91, maybe something like that. But yeah, so they're going to have the opportunity. Depends how good they feel about who's there. My thoughts. Draft for value with the best available player. Move to the slot where the value meets the need, so you're not reaching for a guy who you shouldn't be drafting in a spot.
Yeah,
stuff like that. But yeah, if you're going to target positions, secondary, both corner and safety, I think any offensive line position, defensive interior as well, and then running back somewhere probably early day 3. I don't know that a day 2. I don't know that it'd be worth picking a running back on day 2 unless somebody falls, but an early day 3 running back, or maybe 2, seems good to me as well.
Yeah. We'll see. And I don't know if there's really anybody. The Packers have never really been a team to spend in free agency, and I don't really expect them.
Reggie White, man, Charles Woodson.
Yeah, but that was before Ted Thompson.
But Ted Thompson was a Ron Wolf disciple, and Brian Gutekunst is a Ted Thompson disciple. They'll spend in free agency, but they're not going to overspend in free agency, and that's the thing.
Hold on, Rank. We have a special guest that wants to join in.
Big Buff.
What's up, guys?
How's it going, Todd?
It's going.
You here to give us your thoughts on the Packers?
Or do you want to fire Greg Gard right now?
Oh, we can fire Gard. I don't know. I'm kind of done with Gard. It's the same old story year after year with him. So I'm just sick of seeing the same kind of guys out there and doing the same flex offense and whatnot. So, but
maybe we get Calipari.
Yeah, right. Oh, there's a lot of young talent coming out of Wisconsin lately the last few years, and
can't keep him in state.
Yeah, exactly. So
I mean, you can't really blame them for going to, where do they go? Duke and
Kentucky.
I know Con has went to Duke and stuff like that. And
other guys in Nebraska.
I mean, Halliburton. Where did Halliburton go?
Oh, he went to Iowa State.
Iowa State, yeah. That was, I guess, a little different one, but
yeah. I mean, I can't really blame him for going there. I mean, yes, the system we run is not conducive to having athletes and stuff like that. So
No, I disagree
or
with that.
scorers.
I disagree with that. But they need to. You're not going to be able to. It's not going to be a lot of one-on-one. You need to get your points within the context of the offense, and with the swing offense, you're going to have opportunities, but the history is just not there, right? Like we haven't shown that we can do it. Like you look at how good guys like Decker and Kaminsky looked within the swing offense, Johnny Davis within the swing offense. They got it done as great players, but if you're a 4 or 5 star guy coming out of high school and your dream is to play in the NBA and you don't plan to play in college for 4 years, you're probably not going to Wisconsin. NIL hasn't helped that either.
No. Is there as much NIL in basketball as there is in, I suppose probably not because of the roster size.
It's not going to be as much, but it's still there.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Until the style they play has never been my favorite. So
I just think they made a splash hiring Luke Fickle for football, who seems to be able to recruit and get transfers in and
McIntosh.
Wisconsin's a nice place to play. I mean, it's got a great campus.
From what I remember,
the nightlife was pretty good.
From what I can recall.
Yeah.
I woke up on
the good old days.
I woke up on Schaefer and Miller's driveway at 6 a.m. in January or something. 9 degrees. Woke up without a shirt on.
Good stuff.
Anyway, anything else on the Badgers? What did you want to finish talking about the Packers? Todd, you got anything to add about the Packers?
No, I was listening. I don't know. Linebacker has always been a place I've wanted somebody to kind of lock down the middle. I don't know if Quay Walker is the answer or not, but
Quay Walker is the athlete to do it.
He is the athlete. Yep.
Can he become that?
It'd just be nice. It'd just be nice to one time have like a Fred Warner and a
Bobby Wagner
or something like that.
Ray Lewis.
I mean, I'll set my sights a little short of Ray Lewis, but I would certainly take it.
I was watching the 30 for 30 the other day of the Baltimore Bullies. And I happened to turn it on, and it was like they were talking about the Ray Lewis murder and all that stuff.
You piss him off to kill you, man.
So we'll see. Definitely. I mean, anywhere on defense, anywhere really, except for wide receiver, I think we could probably use, and quarterback, we could use another a jolt of some kind of talent.
Yeah, and even that depends though. Like, I mean, there's not going to be a receiver there when the Packers draft.
No. Well, they did say this is like the deepest wide receiver draft.
It's not, or it is.
It is. It's a deep one.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's my thoughts on receivers are generally that for the most part they're dime a dozen. Like, yeah, you can get a top tier guy early in the draft, but once you get past that first tier receivers, it's a crapshoot, and you often get very similar production in round 2 that you can in round 5 or 6. You just got to get the right guys.
Yeah.
Well, I think in a system too, does a system require that go-to person? Like, it almost seemed like it worked better without Devontae Adams there because it spread the ball around. I mean, a lot of the passes he was making later in the season, those deep balls, like that was schemed. They're wide open because of the coaching, not because of the athlete running the route.
And you could see how the offense looked different when Christian Watson was in there. Because when Love got in trouble, he just kind of chucked it up to Watson, similar to what Rodgers used to do with Devontae. And when he did that, the offense absolutely stagnated. So that's absolutely a good point. But, if you have that guy, I wouldn't be upset about it, but you can't just make him, option 1, 2, and 3. You still need to run your offense. and go through your progressions. When he's open, hit him. But if not, you got to avoid forcing the ball, because that got Love in trouble on a number of occasions. Got him in trouble in the NFC Championship game. Got him in trouble. We think about Pittsburgh, Oakland, Denver. Got him in trouble a bunch.
Yeah, it definitely did. But yeah, and Watson needs to stay available. That's his biggest asset is his availability. If he's available, it doesn't matter if he catches the ball or not. He occupies two guys when he runs deep.
Absolutely, it's important.
So
most important ability is availability.
Yep. Yep. So, all right. Anything else you guys want to add?
I got nothing.
Todd, it was good seeing you.
Yeah,
Great to see you, bud.
All right. Well, this has been the Sports Wall. Thanks for tuning in and listening, and we'll be back next week. See ya.